The Lunchroom on RCI. Food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. And of course, yes, I hear myself now. Finally, thank you very much. And of course, it is Friday and it is the 14th of November, 2025. We are on to program number 1487 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Apologies for yesterday. We had some technical issues that didn't allow us to come on air, but we're glad to be back here today for the last day of the working week with you. Of course, you can follow us on 101.1 FM radio as well as on our WhatsApp. On our Facebook feed, and that is, of course, on the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And please be sure to like that as well with your friends and family. And you should also be able to get us on our YouTube feed. The number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 4523046. Again, 4523046. And we also want to remind you of our WhatsApp number. That is 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. Now, some birthday greetings. Belated birthday greetings going out to Mr. Jim Joseph. His birthday was yesterday. And we hope that you had a fantastic birthday celebration. Hope it was a great one for you. It was also the birthday of Dr. Didicus Jules, the OECS Commissioner, the Director General of the OECS Commission. And of course, we want to wish him all the best on for his special day. And some individuals celebrating their birthdays today. I want to send out birthday greetings to Miss Tessa Clement. Your birthday today. Hope you're having a fantastic one. Also to Jasmara Jeremy. Happy birthday to you. Hope it's a wonderful day. And also to my cousin, the Honorable Christopher Gibbs, over in Barbados. And we're wishing you a wonderful 50th birthday, Christopher. Hope it's a great day for you. Now, as for some history for today, we go back to the year 1680. On this day, Gottfried Kirk discovered the Great Comet of 1680. It's also known as Newton's Comet. In the year 1856, an American by the name of Gale Borden was issued a patent for technology related to his invention of condensed milk. 1896 on this day, a power plant at Niagara Falls began operation. 1920 on this day, Russia's Bolshevik army occupied Sevastopol, ending anti-communist attempts to regain control of the Russian government. And in 1994 on this day, the first public trains ran through the Channel Tunnel linking England and France under the English Channel. We now, of course, move on to our dish of the day.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And yes, of course, we do note lots of excitement in the island at this time as both main political parties, the United Workers' Party and the St. Lucia Labour Party, hyping up and ramping up their efforts at convincing the public of St. Lucia as to who they should in fact go out to vote for come the next general election, which is to be held on Monday, the 1st of December this year. Now, of course, this has been an anticipated event for some time, and of course, we've been hearing lots about ringing the bell. The opposition has been asking for that bell to be rung, and certainly elections have been called. And it is a moment when the public will have to make a decision. And individuals, quite often, many out there who are not as very well connected to the current affairs and the news and what is happening in the country, quite often feel somewhat, that elections don't matter. And many sometimes decide that, you know what, it's not for me. At the end of the day, it's not going to make a difference in your life. And what I think is certainly very far from the truth is that kind of perception, because we can see all around the world how elections matter. Elections effectively are setting in place the state of the government, the management of government policy for the next 5-year cycle. And in our system, it's very hard to get out of that 5-year cycle. And once it's set, you've got that one day that comes around only every 5 or so years where you have that opportunity to make a determination as to who is best placed to represent you at the level of your constituency and your district. But beyond that, who is effectively going to have the opportunity to represent you at the level of the government, the executive of the country, and of course the setting out of the laws that guide the country. And that is definitely a very, very important undertaking. And it calls for a level of awareness, it calls for a level of discernment, it calls for a level of analysis in terms of making that determination for everyone. It's quite often some people say, they cannot see any difference between one or the other. And that, I think, is something that certainly is unfortunate if lots of people are of that opinion. But quite often it is perhaps because we are not seeing the philosophical underpinnings and values that are guiding each and every individual politician and party. And so it is certainly very important for the parties themselves to be able to properly enunciate what their visions are, what their values are. Because it's one thing to have an idea, a vision, but also the value system to be able to achieve that vision is also very much necessary. And whether there is the aptitude, the competence to be able to do that as well. And so all of these things certainly have to be taken into consideration by the electorate, by an individual, because really and truly, that's all we get every 5 years. That one opportunity to put an X on a piece of paper, which will eventually be tabulated for a determination through a democratic process who has the greatest support. That does not mean, however, that once that act is done, that we should not hold governments to account. That is very important as well. And we all, of course, have to be able to have that vested interest. The vested interest comes from understanding the process, understanding that you've gone out, you've exercised your vote, and now you have to hold the government of the day to account. And that is also vital in the greater scheme of things. And accountability means, is the government delivering? Is it doing its task? Well, of course, we have an opportunity now to effectively see what has been done over the past 4.5 years under this current Philip J. Pierre ministry, and to be able to ascertain whether they are deserving of a passing grade, and whether, in fact, that passing grade is, in your estimation, potentially better than any other option out there. And that, I think, is where the point of comparison is very, very important in this situation. Now, one of these areas, of course, that has been most topical has been the issue of St. Jude Hospital. And it's been topical since, one would say, perhaps even before the year 2009. Because St. Jude Hospital did exist and has existed for a pretty long time. And one can also say that it was never really in a great condition to begin with, and has had some challenges over the years. I mean, the mere fact, of course, what we noticed in terms of a fire destroying that surgical building speaks to, of course, the issue of maintenance and ensuring that the systems, the institutions that are put in place are actually working as they should, and they're working safely. And unfortunately, on the night of September the 9th, 2009, clearly something went wrong and we had a calamity. And it speaks to the fact that sometimes a stitch in time saves nine. And we do need to do a lot better as a country in terms of the culture of maintenance and the standards of maintenance of institutions and, of course, buildings in particular. And all that being said, St. Jude Hospital has gone through one iteration after another, different governments coming in and attempting to be able to complete St. Jude. And we have finally gotten to this point where everything that is needed to complete St. Jude is, in fact, in place. The resources, of course, were put in place to ensure that it was necessary. The designs were put in place and approved to ensure that the building and the project that was being put forward was a good project. It went through a process of a selection of a contractor and eventually a joint venture contracting arrangement was established with a Saudi firm and a local firm with that of CIE. And now we are at a point where this facility is finally going to be completed and opened for the use of the public. And what we effectively are seeing right now is that handover from the contractor to the client, or the client agency that is going to be utilizing that facility. In the first instance, the Ministry of Health, and more specifically, the St. Jude Hospital. And this is a very, very important step that is very much necessary to be able to improve on the level of care and what is available right now with respect to healthcare in the country, and in particular the south of the country. We, of course, have seen St. Jude Hospital operating in about 60,000 square feet of space in the George Odlum Stadium, in a very disjointed way as well, with on either end of the track, the playing area of the stadium, operating these spaces. And we are finally going to be seeing the return of operations commencing at St. Jude Hospital come this coming Sunday. In fact, well, I suppose Monday. But in fact, they've already started moving in, but formally that handover happening this Sunday. Now, we're hearing lots, of course, of statements being made, lots of propaganda as well, perhaps one could say, or criticisms of what is being put forward at the moment. Now, some of it, of course, is very unfortunate, because one caller to a program yesterday was almost trying to suggest that the plumbing system in St. Jude Hospital was old and antiquated, and you'd be flushing the toilets, and you wouldn't even know where the that water was going, and so it was going to be a major risk in terms of operating that hospital. And again, it's unfortunate that you're hearing these kind of statements, because a whole process went through of design of St. Jude, of ensuring that all the systems that are required to be in place for a functioning hospital are in place. And in fact, one of the advantages that St. Jude has is that it's not just going to be flushing waste into a soakaway. There is in fact a dedicated wastewater treatment plant at St. Jude Hospital. It was part of the design that was going on prior to 2016, and it would have still been used by the box, quote unquote, or the secondary attempt at completing St. Jude, and it's still very much going to be utilized for the use of the hospital today. So again, why come with those kinds of accusations when they do not fit into the reality of what is present? You had another statement being made by one individual suggesting that the laundry at the St. Jude site was too hot and it was not going to be able to be operated, and so there was a situation of confusion. Now, what has been happening, from my understanding, with respect to the current operations of the laundry at the George Odlum Stadium, was that they were already not using on-site laundry. They, in fact, were using a private service provider to be able to do laundry for the hospital. That will be no more. There is, in fact, a dedicated laundry facility which has been set up in one of the buildings there, and it is a very, very modern laundry facility. Perhaps it's perhaps even more modern than anything we actually have on island. But then to now come, of course, and give the impression that this laundry is inadequate is most unfortunate, because that would have been the very same laundry that was going to be used if it was the box. Because the quote-unquote box did not have a laundry facility of its own. It was still depending on the power and laundry building and maintenance building, which is a standalone building at St. Jude Hospital. So again, in an attempt to give one impression for political points, you in fact are not dealing with the reality, because that would still have been the laundry if the box was completed. And so you're hearing quite a lot now about, there's no, the ICU was an afterthought. And that is so untrue again. Because if anybody had the benefit of looking at the early designs of St. Jude Hospital as well, and we've spoken about many of these designs over the years, they would have seen that there was always an ICU unit in the St. Jude Hospital. Is it of the same size as the ICU at the Owen King EU Hospital? No, it's not. It's a smaller ICU, but it is an ICU that is based on the overall requirements of that catchment. So again, there are a lot of facilities that exist in St. Jude Hospital that are far better than whatever existed in the old facility pre-2009. The accident and emergency unit, for example, is a larger facility. It was scaled up by at least 30%. I think in the 2016, up to 2016, I think it has been increased even more at this point in time with a new drop-off bay and an area for that as well for patients coming in. It is, from an adjacency perspective, very close to the diagnostics part of the hospital. There is a central sterilization service area, which of course is a new part of the hospital. There's a very modern lab, which is part of that hospital. There are 3 operating theaters in the surgical department now, which is of course an upgrade to what existed before. There is an extended east wing, which has added on a significant amount of more space, particularly a maternity department that is equipped with its own operating theater for cesareans, a number of private and semi-private rooms. In fact, they do in fact have more private and semi-private rooms at St. Jude Maternity than what exists or would obtain currently at the OKEU. Outpatient services, of course, tremendous amount of space available there. And today, we in fact have begun to see the movement of containers coming out of the Port of Castries, those containers heading to St. Jude Hospital, those being the first bit of medical equipment that is actually being brought into St. Jude Hospital. So clearly the process is moving forward with respect to the full operationalizing of the St. Jude Hospital. Now, I believe we do have a clip that I actually want to share, and I'm trying to find that clip at the moment, coming out of HTS, and it actually gives an update on the work that is ongoing to, in fact, allow for that handover of St. Jude Hospital to the management of the St. Jude Hospital.
Hospital reconstruction project is about to enter a new but significant phase. Over the next coming days, the project will be officially handed over to the Ministry of Health. This is a significant development. During our latest visit on Wednesday, we observed the focus of the construction crew had shifted, largely from the buildings to the grounds of the St. Jude Hospital. The roads were being paved, the car parks being cleaned, with the last-minute brushing up of selected spots with coats of paint. The liaison officer of the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project, Silas Wilson, says the administrative staff will be among the first to move from the George Odlum Stadium to the St. Jude Hospital at Auger.
As of tomorrow, the 13th of November, staff are going to be operating. The admin staff, human resource finance, some of them are going to be operating from this site here. Later this week, we believe, if not by tomorrow, but the latest Friday, the laundry staff should also be coming across here at the new site of the hospital at Auger, from where the laundry operations will be conducted.
According to Wilson, other services will soon be transferred from the stadium to the St. Jude Hospital site at Auger.
The plan is also sometime next week, around the 20th of November, that the kitchen operations should also commence from the site here at Auger, as well as one of the outpatient services, physiotherapy as well. The staff at St. Jude's have been very integral in the preparation for those maneuvers. Of course, a hospital never really opens up by every single component of it moving at once. There are some services that are easier to move, and we are prepared at this time here at the Auger site to begin to accommodate those services being offered from that site here. So we are very happy to report that those 4 services imminently will be provided from the St. Jude site at Auger.
Dennis Lovens is a supervisor on the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project. He reflected on his years of work on the site.
I did a lot of work here. I did physio, dialysis. I did all the painting, as you can see, all around. Yeah.
Okay. You also played a supervisory role as well?
Yeah, especially in the painting.
Okay.
All the different colors, the designs you get on the wall. Playroom, physio. I did all the drawings myself.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right. So, and is everything ready now?
Well, to me, 98% ready.
Okay.
98. Yeah.
Okay. And how soon do you think it's going to be 100?
Maybe by next week, hopefully.
The relocation from the George Odlum Stadium to the St. Jude Hospital at Auger is being undertaken on an incremental basis, step by step. First administration, then the kitchen and laundry services, followed by outpatient services such as physiotherapy. We caught up with Richard Bryan, one of the longest-serving staff members at the St. Jude Hospital. He says he and his subordinates have been trained in the use of the laundry equipment installed at the hospital.
Well, I must admit, what we have in the laundry right now, there's nothing I have seen on the island that can compare with it. And I'm very, very impressed with the work done to the laundry. And my team, presently, we are ready to move. Although there are a few hiccups, but we're prepared to see how we could work up along with it. Because presently we do not have a laundry in the stadium. And we would love to see that we come up here and continue doing what we do the best, doing for patients.
The St. Jude Hospital reconstruction site will soon be done and dusted. What this means is that the contractor, his equipment and personnel will be clearing the site, paving the way for the arrival of the final bits of medical equipment, which will be tried and tested in preparation for the arrival of patients. Stanley Lucian reporting for the HTS News Force.
And of course, that piece coming from the HTS team. We're going to have to take a break at this point in any case for our weather report. So we're going to end our dish of the day at this time. When we come back, we'll then be able to continue the conversation and take in some calls.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
It's now time for our weather report, of course brought to you by Island Style.
Last year, boy, problems to get shipment of tiles in time for Christmas. This year, Island Style has enough tiles in stock to cover the whole of St. Lucia. And with our Christmas sale starting now, every tile is on sale. Island Style has massive stock, the widest variety, and the very best sale prices on quality tiles and natural stone in St. Lucia. Great deals on beautiful bathroom faucets, vanities and fixtures, tiling tools and accessories. Don't fall for no gimmicks anywhere else. Island Style's annual Christmas sale is unbeatable. Tiles for miles. Deals as far as the eye can see. Start your car, ride your bike, hop on a bus, and hurry down to Island Style Town and Bath now. Castries, Rodney Bay, and Viewford. Check Facebook for more details.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And the forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between the east and east-southeast near 16 miles per hour or 26 kilometers per hour. Weather fair skies occasionally becoming cloudy at times with a few showers. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles: fair to occasionally cloudy skies with brief light to moderate showers. Your tropical weather outlook: moderate easterly winds will continue across the region during the next 24 hours. Patches of low-level clouds moving along the wind flow will cause occasional showers over parts of the Lesser Antilles. Of course, during the forecast period. Tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the tropical Atlantic during the next 7 days. And that is your weather report, brought to you by Island Style.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Last year, boy, problems to get shipment of tiles in time for Christmas. This year, Island Style has enough tiles in stock to cover the whole of St. Lucia. And with our Christmas sale starting now, every tile is on sale. Island Style has massive stock, the widest variety, and the very best sale prices on quality tiles and natural stone in St. Lucia. Great deals on beautiful bathroom faucets, vanities and fixtures, tiling tools and accessories. Don't fall for no gimmicks anywhere else. Island Style's annual Christmas sale is unbeatable. Tiles for miles. Deals as far as the eye can see. Start your car, ride your bike, hop on a bus, and hurry down to Island Style Tile and Bath now. Castries, Rodney Bay, and Viewfo. Check Facebook for more details.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And our WhatsApp number, 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. One issue that certainly came up over in the last general election was the matter of heritage and heritage protection. And I do want to speak about that a little bit. But first, we're going to go to the phone lines to take in our first call. Good afternoon and welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Good afternoon, Mr. George.
How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad.
Very well. Wonderful.
Now, what I thinking right now and I'm seeing is a lot of high-profile UWP crossing over to SLP. What do you think of that?
Yes, very much so. I mean, we obviously saw prior to this general election, we saw Mr. Stevenson King, a former prime minister of the United Workers' Party, effectively pulling away and aligning himself with the SLP, with his blue wave. He's been part of the government, senior minister, minister of infrastructure. So we saw that. And now we, of course, saw recently the likes of
the Speaker of the House,
the former Speaker of the House, Mr. Andy Daniel, as well as the former Minister of Youth Development and Sport, Mr. Edmund Estefan, former MP for Denry South, as well, coming across openly, not just coming across to support the St. Lucia Labour Party, but openly speaking on their political platforms. We've also heard others like Mr. Claudius Sprayville. He's in fact now an ambassador within for the government, and he is has openly come out and is supporting the current administration, even though, of course, his brother, Mr. Titus Sprayville, is a candidate currently for the United Workers' Party.
Do you think there could be a danger of taking all this top brass UWP into the SLP?
Well, I mean, when you say a danger, I think politics is, let's see, it is not just volatile, but it is also something that is fluid and flexible. And people do have the right to change their allegiance, if you like. We've seen it happen in the past a number of times. I think back even to the birth of the United Workers' Party. Mr. John Compton was a member of the St. Lucia Labour Party. He, in fact, was a minister under the St. Lucia Labour Party. He eventually formed his own party, the National Labour Movement, which later on joined forces with the People's Progressive Party, more conservative party at that time. And we saw the likes of the Bousquet brothers as well.
Yeah,
JMD Bousquet as well as
yeah, the
Alan
two of them.
Bousquet.
I know both of them.
They were originally aligned to the St. Lucia Labour Party, and they went across to join Mr. Compton in 1964. So we have seen that.
No, I wasn't in St. Louis. I was in England.
Ah, okay. Well, so I mean, it has happened in the past. What we're seeing, clearly, it's happening before elections, right? So people are seeing that. So it's not something that they're crossing the floor after elections are done. The individual has won their seat and they and they cross the floor. So it's different. It certainly is different in this instance. The individuals are openly saying, "This is where I stand now. This is who I'm supporting in this current election." So I think it is obviously something that I think the Labour Party will welcome. And that it is showing that they are now even attracting individuals at the higher echelons of the United Workers' Party. And who knows, we may even see more to come. There have been a lot of suggestions of other former members of parliament, other former ministers of the United Workers' Party now openly, not yet openly, but quite possibly soon will also let their positions be known on this matter.
The other thing I want to say is the government, the Prime Minister is offering the students of Arthur Lewis thousands of pounds for them to go to school in Arthur Lewis. And when he was Prime Minister, he said he's spending too much money on Arthur Lewis.
Yep, that is what he said. That is exactly what he said.
So now he wants to become Prime Minister again. He offered them thousands.
Well, one of the questions I was going to ask is, what is his position now on the matter of the St. Lucia National Trust? Because we saw what he did when the National Trust was, when he was Prime Minister. He defunded the National Trust. He took
that I cannot go through.
Sorry?
Yes, so I think somebody playing with line.
Oh, with your phone? Okay,
Yeah.
not a problem. Yeah, but I mean, so it is, of course, very evident that he's making pronouncements on matters, whereas, and in some instances, when you look at the record, his own record speaks to something very different than when he was in power and how he decided he was going to treat certain things. You know?
But how he can give them thousands, and when that the Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Cavill, decide to give us a branch of the. He said we don't ready yet. He kicked the can down.
Yeah, and actually, right now, in fact, just a few days ago, I saw some designs of the new Five Islands campus and how it's going to look when it's all built out, and it's going to be a very fine campus that they are in fact going to have over in Antigua, and certainly I think we missed out on that opportunity in respect of developing our very own university campus here on the island. I think a decision is going to have to be made as to whether the approach is to move to Arthur Lewis Community College into a university college, whether the plan might be, do we keep Sir Arthur Lewis Community College as a community college and create a university separate and apart from that, maybe as a campus of the University of the West Indies. That's another approach. But certainly we have to be thinking about, yes, of course, about tertiary education. It is vital that we are upskilling our population. We're getting to a point now where already we're seeing limited numbers in the workforce. Some number of hotels are having a very hard time to be able to find good workers at this point, right? So, but what it means is that we've got to ensure that each and every St. Lucian is very well skilled, and they can actually make a substantial contribution to the output the productive output of the country, and that can come through better skills, better education, higher education, and it's vital that we actually invest in that.
Now, I supposed to come in your studio, so when you can fix that for me?
Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, I supposed to pop in your studio.
So
well,
yes.
That for me.
Okay, we can call about that maybe next week.
Yes, sometime next week.
So that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful.
Okay.
So we can do
Have
a
a nice
program with
day.
you. Take care, caller. All the best.
Okay,
Thank you. And of course, the number to call in is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And yeah, so I think the leader of the opposition definitely has to indicate where he stands on some of the issues of the past when he was in fact in government. The matter as I was raising of the St. Lucia National Trust is one of them. We saw the treatment and how he approached that organization with a certain level of vitriol. We saw how he effectively castigated the director of the institution, or did not want that individual to become the director. We saw how he defunded the St. Lucia National Trust at that time. Not just defunding in terms of even the grants, subventions that were provided to the institution on an annual basis, but even canceled a loan which was already approved for the institution to be able to build a new headquarters. And we also saw how he stopped projects which were already in train with respect to that institution. One of them, of course, is the Walcott House and the whole plan for the redevelopment of Grass Street. Those were monies that had been secured from the Taiwanese government, $7.5 million from the Taiwanese government. The first phase was merely just the rebuilding of the original house, but then there was supposed to have been a museum component with a gift shop, with a courtyard area for performances, and there was supposed to have been eventually an art center developed. And again, that project has died, unfortunately, as a result of this defunding which occurred by the former administration and under the watch of Mr. Alan Chastney. We're hearing him saying that he's a changed man. Is he, in fact, however, going to look at some of these actions that he took in the past and, in fact, recognize that they were not in the benefit of the country and, in fact, ended up causing a lost opportunity in many ways? The treatment of the Royal Jail is another interesting case in point, where, as you now have over in Trinidad and Tobago, they, in fact, are planning on redeveloping their old prison in the heart of Port of Spain. And they're not just talking about demolition, they're actually talking about conversion, adaptive reuse of that facility so that it can become an arts and culture center for Port of Spain. So clearly, has the philosophy changed? Has the understanding of what matters to the country changed? And I think that, of course, will be a major question that has to be posed to that of the leader of the opposition when he is now talking about becoming, or if he has become, a changed man. Has his position on the Castries-Grosley Highway, for example, changed? Is he still of the opinion that there is no need to upgrade the highway from Shock all the way up to Grosley? And if that is the case, is he now, if he ever were to return, again, cancel the loans that were already in place? Because this is exactly what happened back in 2016. He came in, found in place loans that had already been approved, a project that was already in train, and he effectively stopped that project. So becoming a changed man has his views on some of these projects change as well in terms of moving forward. these are major questions that we have to ask, of course, because if we're now hearing about maybe a change of heart towards the South Louis Community College, if that is to be believed, the question is, what about the many other issues that clearly he took some rather unfortunate positions on in his time? The Distress Fund is another very good example of just that. A project, well, not a project, but a program in place to be able to support individuals whose homes end up being destroyed by fire or some sort of natural disaster, that support being provided by the government to be able to offer those individuals a means to have some bridging of that difficult period. There was a $1 million allocation for that, and he, of course, came in and simply canceled that as well. And his argument was that this was promoting mendicancy and I think making people effectively become beggars of the government. This was the attitude. So again, we have to be able to understand if we're speaking about a change of heart, is it really going to mean that you are admitting that some of these things that were done were in fact not appropriate, not the right approach in dealing with the state of a country? Because what you end up having in many of these instances is that these institutions have effectively died. Look at what has happened with Radio St. Lucia. An attempt to try to bring it back, yes, is still afoot, but the institution has gone to a point where, of course, it was dissolved. And so, again, how do you deal with the heritage of the country? How do you deal with things that are important for the society? How are you going to, in fact, deal with them? Now, I just want to also put in a plug here very quickly for Mr. Marcellus Steed. And, of course, some of you know he is the independent candidate, or one of the independent candidates for Castries North. And he was here on the program some time back, and we spoke with him. I had a good conversation, a bit short, but he did make mention of somewhat of I suppose, a guidebook, because I think it's more than a manifesto. But you could call it that as well, a manifesto. And he's in fact come back with a copy of it, which he dropped off earlier on. And it's entitled Make It Count, Courts, Classrooms, and the Castries North Playbook. And it is a fully published book of well over 450 pages, detailing a tremendous amount of insight and research in terms of the constituency of Castries North, but in particular, a lot of the work that he's been doing in respect of interventions in the lives of young people, particularly through the use of sport. So it is actually, I think, a rather remarkable achievement for anybody in their own right to be able to have published this. And it is also grounded in a lot of research within this book. I haven't got a chance to go through the entire thing, but just thought I should share some of the highlights. It's broken down into parts and chapters. And the first part is called Roots and Reason. Chapter 1, We Are Not Beggars, I Am Not a King. Chapter 2, Castries North at a Glance. Chapter 3, A Bus to Park University. Chapter 4, Report Card. Part 2 deals with sports economics from courts to campus. And it gives a very interesting, a lot of research into case studies. Chapter 5, Camps, Coaches, and a Doorway. Chapter 6, a case study on Malvo Darwin Joseph from Soufriere. Chapter 7, a case study of Joel Polius. Chapter 8, a case study on Jimmy Inglis from SMC Grosley. Chapter 9, a case study of Sherman Snake Barthélemy from Marsha, also SMC. Chapter 10, a case study on Jeremiah Vitalis. chapter, and that's from the Patricia James Secondary School, formerly Vidboutet. Chapter 11, the case study on Jonathan Big Joe from La Clary. Chapter 12, case study Mervyn Leo. Chapter 13, case study Walter Ninja, Park University. Chapter 14, the pipeline we're building. Part 3 goes on to talk about schools and skills that pay. And then chapter 15, Castries North Connect. Chapter 16, the Castries North SAT Academy. Chapter 17, the Diaspora Skills Bank. Chapter 18, After School Built Right. And then part 4 is on health clinics and active living. And it goes on to look at 3 chapters there. Clinic that actually works. Move at any age, especially after 60. And I guess you can see the focus there on seniors' health. Chapter 21, courts, parks, and pickleball. Looking at low-budget upgrades that make moving easy. Chapter 5, small works that matter. Sidewalks, drains, crossings, the shortlist. Chapter 23, how we'll fund it. Chapter 24, publish the schedule, finish the job. And the last part, the covenant and the scoreboard. And that has 4 chapters. The Castries North Covenant, open dashboards, open files, funding that what works, funding that what works, cutting what doesn't. And the last chapter, learning loops. And of course, he has an epilogue as well entitled Finish Strong. So very, very, very detailed and impressive amount of work put in by Mr. Steed into this publication. And it is certainly something that I think helps in terms of the quality of the discourse, the sharing of ideas, because at the end of the day, this is what matters in terms of development and politics. We have to all come to the table. We have to all give input. And there has to be a process of consultation. Quite often, we do see that leaders sometimes believe that they can go ahead and they can just do things on their own. And they, quite often we see some horrendously bad decisions being made as a result of that. So the importance of sharing, the importance of putting together good ideas is very, very commendable for Mr. Steed. And I just certainly want to commend him for this publication. So regardless of course, however he does in terms of his own political efforts, that's one thing, but he already has certainly a very wonderful publication, which in my view should make for some very interesting reading. So kudos to him. Now, of course, next week we'll be back for another program, God willing, and we do hope that you can join us for that. Of course, there's lots to take in over the weekend, lots of whistle stops and public meetings and other events happening, and of course the handover ceremony for St. Jude Hospital, which is happening, I think, from 10 o'clock on Sunday. And so definitely something to look out for this coming Sunday, the 16th of November. Have a good one. I'm your host, Calix George Jr., saying goodbye.